They call him America's Robin Hood. To the poor, he was a hero, a man who struck back at the rich and powerful. But to the banks and railroads, Jesse James was a nightmare in human form. Was he a righteous outlaw fighting for justice, or just a cold-blooded killer hiding behind legend? This is the real story of Jesse James, the gunslinger who became a myth. The birth of an outlaw. Jesse Woodson James was born in Clay County, Missouri in 1847. His father was a Baptist minister, but when Jesse was just 3 years old, his father left to join the gold rush in California and never returned. His mother remarried twice, and life on the James farm was marked by hardship and conflict. When the Civil War broke out, Jesse's older brother Frank joined the pro-Confederate guerrilla fighters known as bushwhackers. By age 15, Jesse followed in his brother's footsteps, taking up arms in one of the bloodiest guerrilla wars in American history. He rode with Quantrill's Raiders, a brutal group who terrorized Union supporters, burned towns to the ground, and massacred unarmed soldiers and civilians alike. For Jesse, the war wasn't about glory or honor. It was personal. Union soldiers had raided his family's farm, beaten him, and left him with a hatred that would fuel his outlaw years. The rise of the James Younger Gang. After the war ended in 1865, Jesse and Frank found themselves unable to return to normal life. Branded as Confederate outlaws, they gathered a band of fellow ex-bushwhackers and turned to robbing banks and trains across Missouri, Kentucky, and beyond. Their first major heist was in 1866, the Clay County Savings Association in Liberty, Missouri. The gang stormed the bank in broad daylight, shot the cashier dead, and rode off with over $60,000, the first successful daylight bank robbery in peacetime America. Newspapers quickly picked up the story. Some painted Jesse as a murderous villain, but others turned him into a folk hero. The poor farmers of Missouri, angry at banks and railroads seizing their lands, saw Jesse as a man striking back for them. He became a symbol of rebellion, signing his robbery letters with his own name to feed his legend. America's Robin Hood, or ruthless killer? Over the next decade, the James Younger Gang carried out countless robberies. They hit banks, stagecoaches, and trains with military precision. But their actions weren't always noble. Civilians died in the crossfire. In one infamous robbery in Gallatin, Missouri, Jesse shot the bank cashier in cold blood, believing he was a former Union officer responsible for killing his friend. He was wrong. The man had nothing to do with it. Still, to many Southerners, Jesse remained a hero. He donated some of his loot to poor farmers and families driven from their homes by railroads, further cementing his image as a Western Robin Hood. Yet behind the legend lay a man addicted to violence. Friends described Jesse as charming, but quick to anger, obsessed with fame, and paranoid about betrayal. He began executing members of his own gang he suspected of informing on him. The fall of the gang. In 1876, Jesse's luck began to run out. The gang attempted a bold raid on the First National Bank in Northfield, Minnesota. They believed the bank's owner had exploited Southerners during the war. But this time, townspeople fought back, ambushing the gang and killing or capturing most of them. Only Jesse and Frank escaped, riding hundreds of miles to safety. After Northfield, the James brothers went into hiding. Jesse changed his name, moved constantly, and formed a new gang with many barely knew. His paranoia grew. He trusted no one, constantly moving his family to avoid Pinkerton detectives who hunted him without mercy. Betrayed by his own. By 1882, Jesse was tired, aged beyond his years. He was living in St. Joseph, Missouri, under the name Thomas Howard. Two brothers, Robert and Charlie Ford, joined his gang. Jesse didn't know they had secretly agreed with Missouri's governor to bring him down for a $10,000 reward. On April 3, 1882, Jesse woke up like any other day. He walked into his living room with the Fords. Seeing a dusty picture frame on the wall, he stood on a chair to straighten it. In that instant, Robert Ford drew his gun and shot Jesse in the back of the head. America's most famous outlaw fell dead to the floor. He was 34 years old. The Immortal legend. Jesse James was buried in Kearney, Missouri. His grave became a tourist attraction overnight. Some mourned him as a fallen hero who fought for the common man. Others saw only a murderer who met his rightful end. Over a century later, his story continues to haunt the American imagination. Was Jesse James a freedom fighter battling injustice, or just a cold-blooded killer masked in myth? One thing remains true. Jesse James wasn't just an outlaw. He became a legend, and legends, whether of heroes or villains, never die.